Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sankalp Learning Classes. So, today we are going to start the chapter Human Health and Diseases. Okay, so this is the seventh chapter in your biology subject. So, one of the important chapter, so which carries around 12 to 13 marks in your annual exam. Okay, so one of the important chapter, and for CET and NEET exam also, so it is one of the important chapter. So before going to start the chapter, you should know the meaning of health and what is disease, right? So let us know the meaning of health. So what is the meaning of health? Health does not simply mean absence of disease. So healthy means it is not the meaning is not a absence of disease or physical fitness. So it is defined as state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. The meaning of health is the complete fitness, so physically, mentally and socially. Okay, so it is not only absence of disease, it is not only related to the physical fitness, so it is related to the mental health also, physical and social well-being, that is called as the health. Then what is how health is affected? So how human health can be affected? The first thing, health is affected by genetic disorders. So what is the meaning of genetic disorders? Genetic level means sometimes there is a change in the genetic makeup of our DNA, or that may leads to the some disease. For example, deficiencies with which a child is born, and deficiencies, defects which the child inherits from the parents from the birth. So sometimes the diseases they inherit from parents to the next generation, so that is called as the genetic disorders. And some infections, okay, so by some agents like virus, bacterial infections, that will also diseases will cause, and health is also affected by these infections. And lifestyle, health is affected by lifestyles also, very important. So what we eat, what type of the water we take, so and rest and exercise we give to our bodies, and habits we have or lack, etc. So these main three reasons from where the health is affected. The first one is genetic disorders which inherit from parents to the next generation, and by infections, it may be by viral infection or bacterial infection, protozoal infection, they affect our health. And lifestyle, that is including food and water we take, and rest and exercise we give to our bodies. So next thing is, so what is disease then? So already we know the meaning of health. Then what is the meaning of disease? Improper functioning of one or more organs or system of the body is adversely affected, gives rise to the various signs and symptoms that we have the disease. So sometimes some organs of our body, different organs, they are affected, and some various signs we can observe, right, symptoms we can observe. So then we can say we have a disease. Okay, so diseases which can be easily transmitted from one person to the other by any means are called infectious or communicable disease. So in disease there are two types. The first one is infectious disease, and second type is the non-infectious disease. Non-infectious disease. Non-infectious disease means which do not transmit from person to person. Here infectious disease means common cold. Okay, common cold, it may transmit from person to person. Okay, when we touch the person or the utensils or the things which are used by the infected person, so it may infect the another person also. That is the infectious disease transmit. But some diseases they will not transmit from person to person. That is called as the non-infectious disease. Okay, and the disease causing organism, sometimes some virus or bacteria or some protozoa that cause the disease, no, that is called as the pathogen. Okay, so what is disease and types of disease and the disease causing organism, that is called as the pathogen. Okay, then common diseases in humans. So very importantly, we are studying about different types of diseases and what are the symptoms of diseases and causative agents of that diseases first. Okay, a wide range of organisms belonging to bacteria, virus, fungi, protozoan and helminthes could cause the diseases in man. So not only bacteria, so virus, some other organisms, some fungi and protozoans and helminthes means some worms, roundworms and flatworms, they are causing the diseases and they are called as pathogens. So these are the disease causing organisms, no, so they are called as pathogens. Okay, most are the parasites, therefore pathogens, as they cause harm to host by living in or on them. Here most of the pathogens are parasites. What is the meaning of parasites? Parasites means they depend on the host, they absorb or they get the nutrition from the host, and they sometimes they are living inside the body and sometimes living outside the body, but they absorb the nutrients from the host and they cause the disease or they harm the uh, they harm the host. So they are called as pathogens and sometimes they are parasites. Okay, the pathogens can either enter our body by various means, multiply and interfere with our normal vital activities, resulting in morphological and functional damage. So these pathogens, how they enter to our body? For example, virus, how they enter to our body, or bacteria, so mainly by food and water. Okay, various means, mainly food and water. Then when they enter our body, they multiply, they increase their number, and then they start to damage to our body. Okay, so they enter and multiply in number and they damage to our body. Okay, pathogens have to adapt to life within the environment of the host. For example, pathogens that enter the gut must have way to surviving in the stomach at a low pH and resisting the various digestive enzymes. So some pathogens are they are living in our digestive system. Okay, they multiply in our digestive system and cause the disease. So this type of, for example, this type of pathogens, they should have some resistance capacity, means they should resist some enzymes present in our digestive system, and some pH level they have to resist. Okay, so these all modification the pathogens have to cause the disease in human beings. Okay, so this is about the how the pathogens they are able to survive and how they are living on the living organisms. Then the different diseases we are studying in this chapter, the first one is the typhoid disease. Okay, so this is a typhoid, the first disease. Here very important is, very important, that is the causative agent. So typhoid is caused by the salmonella typhi, that is the bacteria. Okay, typhoid is the bacterial disease and which is caused by salmonella typhi. Very important for your exam. How which organs are affected? Small intestine and migrate to the organs through the blood. So how this pathogen that will enter to our body? Through the contaminated food and water. The main reason for the typhoid disease, that is the contaminated water and the food, and the causative agent is salmonella typhi. Okay, then what are the symptoms we can observe the person who is suffering from the typhoid disease? Here, sustained with high fever. High fever is the characteristic symptom, and weakness, stomach pain, constipation, headache, and loss of appetite. Loss of appetite means they are not able to digest the food. Okay, and ಹಸಿವಾಗದೇ ಇರೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಲಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪಿಟೈಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್, ಮೋಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಗದೆ ಇರೋದು, ದೆನ್ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಪೇನ್, ವೀಕ್ನೆಸ್, ದೀಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟೈಫಾಯ್ಡ್. And intestinal perforation and death may occur. So here how we can detect the typhoid? By using the Vidal test. Okay, here there is a case that is called as typhoid Mary in America. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ typhoid Mary ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ಇದೆ. She is the affected female. So she is the head cook in hotel. Okay, Mary, named person who was the head cook in a hotel. So she transmit the disease for many persons by cooking the food in that hotel. So that case is called as the typhoid Mary, who transmitted the diseases to many persons. Okay, so those who had food in that hotel, they suffered this typhoid ಡಿಸೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, causative, write the causative agent of typhoid, that is salmonella typhi, and methods of transmission also they will ask. And sometime in keltare andre they will give the symptoms of weakness, stomach pain, constipation, headache, and loss of appetite. So which disease symptom it is? Okay, that is the typhoid. Directly they will not ask, write the symptoms like that, they will not ask. So ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಯಾವ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೀಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಅಷ್ಟು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾಲಮ್, ಆಲ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಈಚ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್. ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಿಸೀಸಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ತರ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾನು ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಯಾವ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಮಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ directly to write the pathogen. Sometimes they ask the mode of transmission. Okay, the second disease, pneumonia. Okay, which pathogen is responsible for this disease? Streptococcus pneumonia or Haemophilus influenzae. So any one pathogen that is responsible for the disease. And which organs are affected? Alveoli of the lungs. Alveoli get filled with the fluid. And here, what are the symptoms we can observe? Fever, chill, cough, and headache. In severe cases, the lips and fingernails turn gray and bluish color. So main agi fever, chills, cough, and headache, and alveoli of the lungs that fills with the fluid, and it may transmit through person to the another person. This is very important one, that is about the pneumonia. Okay, then common cold, very important. This is the viral disease that is caused by the rhinovirus. Common cold ನಾವು ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಫರ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಇದ್ದು ಕಾಮನ್ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ನೋಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಟರಿ ಪ್ಯಾಸೇಜ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್. Then what are the symptoms and mode of transmission? Direct inhalation of droplets from the infected person. So if we inhale the droplets, so that is from the infected person, we may get the disease. And through the contaminated objects like pen, books, cups, computer, keyboards. So the affected person who touches the different objects, so when we touch, the healthy person touch that objects, he may get the disease. Okay, that is the common cold. So here what are the symptoms we can observe? Nasal congestion and discharge, sore throat, hoarseness, and cough. So very important, what are the symptoms of common cold? So nasal congestion and discharge, sore throat. So these all symptoms we can observe. Okay, then one of the very important disease, that is malaria. Here the pathogen is the malaria that is caused by the Plasmodium vivax or Plasmodium falciparum. The pathogen and liver and RBC is affected. Methods of transmission: by biting of female Anopheles mosquito, that is the vector, means which transmit uh, the pathogen to the human body. Okay, so what are the symptoms we can observe here? High fever, chill, fever occurs every alternate day, vomiting. So these are the symptoms we can observe. Symptoms anna keli nimge questions anna keltare, very very important. Okay, symptoms are very very important. Then, so how this disease is caused in human beings? So we should see the life cycle of the this malaria. Okay, so this malarial parasite, it need to host to complete its life cycle. Okay, let us see the how malaria that transmit to the human body and how it causes the disease. Okay, when the female Anopheles mosquito that bites the human beings, so while sucking the blood, it injects the some spore form of the pathogen that is called as sporozoites. Okay, sporozoites, that is the infected form of the malaria. Okay, that is plasmodium. So these sporozoites directly they enter to the liver. Okay, so inside the liver they reproduce asexually inside the liver cells. Okay, inside the liver cells they reproduce asexually. Okay, then like this they multiply their number asexually, and they burst the liver cells and the spores are released, that is called as merozoites. Okay, merozoites form. And this, when the liver cells ruptures, they release the some toxic that is called as hemozoin that is responsible for the some symptoms, that is because of the malaria. Okay, then these merozoites they enter into the red blood cells. Okay, so red blood cells ಗೆ enter ಆಗತ್ತೆ merozoites. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮೀರೋಸೋವೈಟ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಅಸೆಕ್ಷುಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೀರೋಸೋವೈಟ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ದ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗೆಮೆಟೋಸೈಡ್ಸ್. ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗೆಮೆಟೋಸೈಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ವೆನ್ ದ ರೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ರಪ್ಚರ್ ದೇ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ದ ಮೇಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಗೆಮೆಟೋಸೈಡ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ರೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ cells. So again, when the female mosquito bite the human beings, so they enter these blood cells, they enter to the salivary gland of these mosquito. So inside the blood male and female gametes will be there, and inside the mosquito body the fusion of the male and female gametes takes place, and these develop into zygote, and the zygote again that forms the sporozoites, and these sporozoites they move to the salivary gland ಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ salivary gland ಇಂದ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ life cycle of the malarial disease. Okay, this is the life cycle of how the disease that need two hosts to complete, how the malarial pathogen need the two hosts to complete its life cycle. Okay, so ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮೊಸ್ಕಿಟೋ ಬೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ದ ಸಮ್ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಸೋವೈಡ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅದರ ಸಲೈವರಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಸೋವೈಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಪೋರೋಸೋವೈಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಲಿವರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಲಿವರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸೆಕ್ಷುವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಲಿವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಂಬರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ದೆನ್ ದ ಲಿವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ದ special the sporozoite stage that is called as merozoites ಅನ್ನ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. and one more chemical toxin is released, that is the hemozoin, that is responsible for the fever, cough and other symptoms. ಈ ಮೀರೋಸೋವೈಟ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ರೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ರೆಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀರೋಸೋವೈಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದೇ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಮೀರೋಸ್ red blood cells, and they also produce the male and female gametes within the red blood cells. Male and female gametes anna formation ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. and these male and female gametes, they enter to the mosquito body through when the mosquito bites the human beings. okay, ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಗೆಮೆಟೋಸೈಟ್ಸ್ with the blood they enter into the mosquito's body and they complete the fertilization, they form the zygote. again the merozoites are formed, and these merozoites they enter to the salivary glands of the mosquito. okay, so like this the pathogen need two hosts to complete its life cycle. so here ನೋಡಿ, plasmodium enters the human body as sporozoites through the bite of infected female anopheles mosquito. so here female anopheles mosquito, that is called as the vector. the parasites initially multiply within the liver cells, then attack the red blood cells, resulting in their rupture. the rupture of RBC is associated with the release of the toxic substance hemozoin, and which is responsible for the some symptoms. and when a female anopheles mosquito bites the infected person, this parasite entered the mosquito's body and undergo further development. Means the fusion of the gametes takes place, and they after the fertilization they form the sporozoites. again the sporozoites that is move to the salivary glands of the anopheles mosquito. one of the very very important question for your exam. okay, so this is how the malarial parasite which need two hosts to complete its life cycle. then one more important disease, that is amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. So what is amoebiasis? With which pathogen cause the amoebiasis? That is Entamoeba histolytica, that is the protozoan parasite. okay, that is the protozoa. and organs affected, that is large intestine of the man. and but how it this disease transmit? so housefly act as the mechanical carrier. Contaminated water and food with the fecal matter. so this disease, how it transfer to the person, the house flies which sit on the fecal matter and they reach the food which is kept open, and when this food is eaten by the healthy person, the disease may develop in this healthy person. okay, that is because of the contaminated water and the food with fecal matter. so here what are the symptoms we can observe? Constipation, abdominal pain and cramps, stools with excess mucus and the blood clots. So very important, very very important symptoms. Blood clots we can observe, stools with excess mucus and abdominal pain and cramps. So these all symptoms we can observe in amoebiasis. Mode of transmission, that is also very important. Okay. The next one, ascariasis. So here the disease causing pathogen, that is the nematode. okay, that is the roundworm you can call. so ascariasis, that is the roundworm, Ascaris lumbricoid. okay, methods of transmission, that is contaminated water, vegetable and fruits. so when we use the contaminated water, vegetables, fruits, ascariasis is caused. and what is the symptoms? Internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia, blockage of the intestinal passage. so these disease, internal bleeding, so within the veins, and muscular pain, fever, anemia. so these all the characteristic features of ascariasis, that is the disease caused by roundworm. and filariasis or elephantiasis. So, Ucheraria bancrofti or Ucheraria malai. So, that is the nematode parasite. So, here lymphatic vessels of the lower limbs and genital organs are affected. So, this is because of biting of infected female Culex mosquito. Okay. So, what are the symptoms we can observe? So, elephantiasis means, so just see the, yes, this is the elephantiasis or filariasis, chronic inflammation of the organs where they live for many years, abnormal swelling of lower limbs, scrotum and penis. So the swellings in the penis and legs, lower limbs that we can observe. Hence, this disease is named as elephantiasis. Okay, because of the symptoms, it is known as the elephantiasis. So here also causative agent and very important, the characteristic symptoms of this disease is very important. And the ringworm, so that is trichophyton or epidermophyton or microsporum. So that is the fungi. These organisms, these pathogens, they belong to the fungi. So organs affected, the skin, nails and fold of skins growing. So these all organs are affected. And what are the symptoms we can observe here? Appearance of dry scaly lesions on the skins and scalp and nails. So you can see the disease here. Yes. So this dry scales and lesions that is formed on the skin. So these lesions accompanied with intense itching. So you can see the itching also in that region. Heat and moisture help these fungi to grow. So this is the fungal infection that is called as the ringworm. Okay. The causative agent and the symptoms are very important here. Okay. So these all diseases, totally we have studied about the typhoid, pneumonia, malaria, amoebiasis, filariasis, then ascariasis, and ringworm. So these almost 7 diseases and their symptoms and the causative agent, mode of transmission, whatever is given. So this is very important for your exam. Okay, for 5 marks also they will ask, for sometimes they will ask 3 mark question also, and MCQs they'll ask. So this is very important, and you should know which one is the protozoan disease, which one is the bacterial disease, and which one is the fungal infections. So that you should know. Okay, I hope this concept is clear. Yes. Then, so this is how to prevent this disease and control of infectious disease. How we can control the diseases or infectious diseases. Okay. So the first thing is maintenance of personal and public hygiene. So that is very important. Okay. Then personal hygiene. What is the meaning of personal hygiene? That is drinking pure water. That is a clean water, food and vegetables. The so you should take the clean vegetables or fruits, and keeping the body cleans. So that is also a personal hygiene. Public hygiene, that includes the proper disposal of the waste and excreta. That is very important. We should not throw the waste wherever we want. Okay, that cause the diseases. And periodic cleaning of disinfection of water reservoirs, pools and cesspools, or standard practice of hygiene in public catering. So public catering, that is also very important. They should maintain the standard practices of hygiene. And also we should clean the some water reservoirs. Okay, that is also very very important, otherwise it may spread some disease. In case of airborne disease, close contact with the infected person or their belongings should be avoided. So for example, corona, so corona, close contact with the deceased person, that is not allowed, right? So like that we can prevent the infectious diseases. Then for vector-borne diseases, vector-borne means they are the disease-causing pathogens are they are transferring from with the help of vector to the human body, right? For example, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the very good type of the vectors which cause the which transmit the disease. So here, mosquitoes commonly they lay the eggs and they grow in number in the stagnant water. So avoid the stagnation of water in around residential areas and regular cleaning of household coolers and use of mosquito nets. We should use the mosquito nets to avoid them to enter inside the house, and introducing the fishes like Gambusia in pond that feeds on mosquito larvae. Some fishes which feed on the mosquito larvae that should be grown, and spraying the insecticides in ditches and drainage area and the swamps. In many cities, I hope you observed this, insecticides are sprayed. Okay, that to remove the that to kill the mosquito eggs, okay, mosquito larvae. And window and doors must be fitted with wire mesh, and all these precautions are useful for vector borne diseases like dengue, chikungunya, malaria and filarial diseases. So to prevent the diseases like dengue, chikungunya, malaria, so these all diseases can be prevented by using these all methods, because the main vector is mosquito in these all disease, so which transfer the pathogen. So we should avoid these, we can take the prevention methods. Okay. So how to prevent the disease? So that is the immunization. So by providing the some immunizations, vaccines, we can eradicate the diseases like smallpox and polio, diphtheria, pneumonia. So these all diseases are controlled by the immunization technique. That is because of the vaccines. Okay. Next, very important one is about the immunity. What is immunity? So our body, so the overall ability of the host to fight the disease causing organism by immune system is called as immunity. So if our body exposes to some pathogen, so our body directly not affected, so our body will fight for it, so our body will fight against that disease causing organism. So that ability, the fighting ability, that is called as the immunity. So there are mainly two types of the innate immunity. Okay. So the first one is innate immunity and the second one is the acquired immunity. Then what is innate immunity? Innate immunity means that is already present in our body from the birth. Okay. So that is called as inborn immunity. Then always available to protect our body. Innate means always that is present to protect our body. This is called as first line defense. First line of defense. When the bacteria or virus enter, the first things which fight against this, so that is the innate immunity, consists of various barriers that prevent entry of foreign agents into the body. If enters, they are quickly killed by some other components of this system. So if any foreign agents they'll enter, then it is killed by the innate immunity. Okay, so we can see the four types of the barriers in the innate immunity. The first type is the physical barriers. So what are these physical barriers? Okay, physical barriers. So skin is the main barrier which prevents the entry of the microorganism physically. So mucus coating of the epithelium lining of the respiratory, gastrointestinal and urinogenital tract helps to trapping the microbes. So in mucus coating epithelium that we can see in our respiratory system. Okay, mucus is present, so that is present in our respiratory system also, which collect the microbes which enter to our body, and urinogenital also, gastrointestinal, so in our uh, digestive system also we have some mucus coated epithelium that act as a physical barrier physically, which prevent the entry of the microorganism. Our skin and these all mucus coating of epithelium, that prevents the entry of the microbes. Then physiological barriers, for example, acidity of the stomach kills most ingested microbes. Okay, lysosomes in tears, saliva, and snot kills bacteria by digesting the bacterial wall. And so that is the physiological barriers. Then cellular barriers. So here cellular barriers mean some polymorphonuclear leukocytes and macrophages, some cells, natural killer cells in the blood tissues kill the pathogen by phagocytosis. Certain types of the cells are there, white blood cells and natural killer cells, macrophages, so neutrophils. So these cells, they kill the pathogen by engulfing that organ, that bacterial or viral pathogens. Okay, and cytokinin barrier, the fourth type of the barrier, that is the cytokine barrier. So here virus infected cells release a protein called interferons which protect the non-infected cell from the further infection, so which protect our body uh, from the further infection. Okay, so these are the four types of the barriers that comes under the innate immunity. Okay, then what is acquired immunity? So acquired immunity means, so that is not present in our body, so it may be developed in our body, or it is adapted during the infection. Okay, so this will come in our body due to the infections or from external injections. Specific or adaptive immunity acquired during the lifetime due to the infections. So it involves formation of the antibodies from the destruction of foreign antigens, and unique features of acquired immunity are specificity, diversity, and discrimination between the self and non-self and the memory. Here, when the some pathogens they'll enter, so our body which prepare the antibodies against this disease, okay, against this pathogen. Okay, so that is called as the acquired immunity, which is not present in our body from the birth, so they are developed, so that is the acquired, so that is acquired in our lifetime, that is because of the infection. And here, so this has the memory. So what is this memory? For example, when the chicken pox causing virus that when it enter into our body, so our body that prepares some antibodies to uh, uh, against this. Okay, so when it enters the second time, so already it has the antibodies, so which know about this virus. Okay, which know about this virus in the first infection, so these antibodies directly attack the virus and they kill that virus with that memory. Okay, before, because of the, when they first attack they know about that virus, when the second time they attack they kill directly. Okay, so that is the memory. Yes, the characteristic feature is memory. This means when our body encounters a pathogen for the first time, it produces the response called primary response, which is low intensity. When encounters with the same pathogen, so which has highly intensified secondary or anamnestic response. So that is present in our body in the form of memory, okay, which has the memory. The antibodies which are prepared by which are produced in our body, so that has the four polypeptide chains, okay. Structure of antibody, this diagram is important for your board exam. So each antibody has four polypeptide chains. You can see the four polypeptide chains here. Then which has two small chains called light chains and two longer chains called heavy chains, okay. So this one, the longer one, that is called as the long chains, and this one is the short chain or light chain. Two longer chains called heavy chains, and antibody represented, that is in the form of H2L2, okay. So different classes of antibody produced in our body, that is IgA, IgM, IgD, IgE type and IgG type of the antibodies. So here mainly you should know they have the antigen binding sites. These antibodies, they have the antigen binding sites and two light chains and two heavy chains. So that you have to represent here. So that is the structure of the antibody. In our body, the primary and secondary immune responses are carried out with the help of two special types of lymphocytes present in our blood, that is B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes, okay. B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, that is the first and the secondary immune responses. The B lymphocytes are produced an army of proteins in response to the pathogen into our blood and fight with them. These proteins are called antibodies. So in our body, antibodies are produced, okay, with respect to the that pathogen. So that is produced by the B lymphocytes. This is the structure of the antibody. Already we know the T cells themselves do not secrete antibodies, but they help B cells to produce them. Okay, B and T lymphocytes, they are helping to produce the antibodies. Okay. So because these antibodies are found in the blood, the response is also called as humoral immune response. Very important. What is humoral immune response? Humoral immune response means these antibodies released to the blood. Okay. So this is also one of the type of the acquired immune response, that is antibody mediated, and the second type is called as cell mediated immunity. So what is cell mediated immunity? Very often when some human organs like heart, eye, liver, kidney fail to function satisfactorily, the transplantation is only remedy to enable the patient to live the normal life. You know that some kidneys, heart and other organs, they the transplantation of these organs done. So okay, so if this transplantation, that is not by the other animals, we cannot use the other organs in human beings. So this graft or any other organs from the body that may rejected, so that is because of the cell mediate immunity, our immune system that will activate during this transplantation and that cause the rejection of that organ, okay. ಸೊ ಕೆಲವೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಂಟೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕಿಡ್ನೀಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸೆಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಕಾಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಅದು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ that is called as the cell mediated immunity. So, during the transplantation, the tissue matching, blood group matching are essential before undertaking the graft and transplant. Even after this patient has taken the immunosuppressants all his her life. So, sometimes they should take the immunosuppressants. Means ಆ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಮ್ಯುನೋಸಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಸೆಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯೇಟ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ದ cell mediated immune response. And one more type of the vaccination and immunization, that is, this is one of the type of the acquired immunity. Okay, so vaccination means when the vaccine, you know that polio vaccine and corona vaccine, so you know the different vaccines. So here, what is that vaccine? So what is injected to our body? So inactivated pathogen or antigenic protection for the particular pathogen for protecting against the particular disease, particular pathogen is called vaccination. Here, particular pathogen is or killed or heat killed, or some inactivated pathogens are injected to our body for the particular disease. Okay, for example, polio disease, polio causing virus, that is inactivated form, that is added to that is injected to our body. So our body will develop some antibodies against this uh, polio vaccine. And when the actual pathogen entered to our body, these antibodies, they directly kill that actual pathogen. Okay, that is called as the vaccination. In vaccination, preparation of antigenic protein of pathogen or inactivated or weakened pathogen is introduced into our body. ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ಆಕ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಆರ್ ವೀಕ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್, ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸೀಸಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, disease control on mass scale is done through the vaccination. For example, polio, tetanus, measles. ಸೊ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸೀಸಿಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಆ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಇನ್ಆಕ್ಟಿವೇಟೆಡ್ ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ ಆರ್ ಆಂಟಿಜನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ದ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನೇಷನ್. And immunization. So sometimes if the person is infected with some deadly microbes to which quickly immune response is required, as tetanus or some quick response is required. So for that, directly antibodies are injected for that disease. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಇನ್ಆಕ್ಟಿವೇಟೆಡ್ ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಏನಾಯ್ತು, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆದಾಗ ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಿಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸಮ್ ಡೆಡ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸೀಸಸ್, ಸೊ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಆ ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಟೈಮ್, ದೆನ್ ದ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಗಿವನ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಬಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇವನ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ನೇಕ್ ಬೈಟ್ಸ್, ದ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಟು ದ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಟೈನ್ ಪ್ರೀಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಅಗೇನೆಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಸ್ನೇಕ್ ವೇನಮ್. ಸ್ನೇಕ್ ವೇನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಗೇನೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ನೆಸೆಸರಿ ದಟ್ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನೀಡೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ called as immunization. So that is called as the type of passive immunization. So active immunization and the passive immunization. Active immunization andre, so that is some weakened or pathogens are given to our body, and passive immunization, so directly antibodies are injected. Okay, so what is active immunity and the passive immunity? Active immunity means when the host is exposed to the antigens, which may be in the form of living or dead microbes, or the proteins, antibodies are produced in the host body. ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುವಂಥ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಪ್ಯಾಸಿವ್ ಇಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ರೆಡಿಮೇಡ್ ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಟು prevent the disease. So active immunity is slow, it takes time to effective response. And here this passive immunity, that is very fast, which is having the very fast response. Okay, so inject vaccines are example for the active immunity. And here the fetus receives the IgG type of the antibody from the mother. So that is the example for the IgG from the mother during the pregnancy. That is the type of the antibodies, IgA, IgE. So these are the type of the antibodies. So that is directly given to our body. That is the passive immunity. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ active ಮತ್ತೆ passive immunity ಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Very important topic, allergy. So that is the common word. What is allergy? So allergy is the exaggerated response of the immune system for the certain antigens present in our body. For the certain antigens present in the environment is called as allergy. So that is because of the some allergies. The substances to which such an immune response is produced are called allergens. Okay, what is allergy? And the substance which cause the allergy, that is called as allergens. Okay, the antibodies produced to these are IgE type. IgE types of antibodies are produced in our body for in response to the allergens. Common examples of allergens are dust, pollens, or animal dander. So these all are the common causes for the allergy. Okay, so sometimes watery eyes, running nose, these all are the symptoms of the allergy. So how it happens allergy? It is due to the release of chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the mast cells. So histamine and the serotonin that is released by the mast cells present in our body. For determining all the cause of allergy, the patient is exposed to or injected to very small doses of possible allergens and the reactions are studied. So the uses of drug like antihistamine, adrenaline and steroids quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. So that is the autoimmunity. So what is autoimmunity? Memory based acquired immunity able to distinguish foreign molecules or cells from the self cells. You know that our body cells, they differentiate the foreign cells and our body cells. Okay, they do not kill our body cells. So that is called as the memory cell. They differentiate self cells and the foreign cells. Sometimes due to the genetic or unknown reasons, so they attack the self cells. ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೇ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಫಾರೆನ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೇ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಆಂಟಿಬಾಡೀಸ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ದಿಸ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಬಾಡಿ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ದ ಅಟೋ ಇಮ್ಯೂನ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಟೋ ಇಮ್ಯೂನ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ರುಮಟೈಡ್ ಆರ್ಥ್ರಿಟಿಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಅಟೋ ಇಮ್ಯೂನ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್. So how the immune system that will develop in our body? Okay, so the main thing is lymphoid organs. So these are the organs where the origin and maturation of and the proliferation of the lymphocytes occur. So lymphoid organs ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, lymphocytes, that is B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. The primary lymphoid organs are bone marrow, thymus, where the immature lymphocytes differentiate into antigen sensitive lymphocytes. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, lymphocytes development ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. After the maturation, the lymphocytes migrate to the secondary lymphoid organs. So secondary lymphoid organs ಯಾವುದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಸ್ಪ್ಲೀನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಲಿಂಪ್ ನೋಡ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಟಾನ್ಸಿಲ್ಸ್, ಪೇಯರ್ ಪ್ಯಾಚಸ್, ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಅಪೆಂಡಿಕ್ಸ್. So the secondary lymphoid organs provide the sites for interaction of lymphocytes with the antigen, which then proliferate to become effector cells. So primary lymphoid organ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಮೆಚೂರ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. Then in the secondary lymphoid organs they are exposed to the antigens. The bone marrow is the main lymphoid organ where all the blood cells including lymphocytes are produced. So that is the main lymphoid organ, and the thymus is the lobed organ located near the heart and beneath the breastbone. Then thymus is quietly large at the time of birth but keeps reducing in the with the age, and when at the time of puberty it is attained and reduces to very small size. ಆ ಥೈಮಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Both bone marrow and thymus provide the micro environments for the development of the T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes develop ಆಗುತ್ತೆ in our body. You know that T lymphocytes that helps to B lymphocyte to produce the antibodies ಅಲ್ವಾ. The spleen is the large bean-shaped organ. It is mainly contains the lymphocytes and phagocytes. It acts as the filter of the blood and trapping the blood-borne microorganisms. Spleen ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ blood-borne microorganism ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Spleen also has large reservoir of erythrocytes. The lymph nodes are small solid structure located at the different points along with the lymphatic system. The spleen that also prevent the which also captures the some pathogens which is present in that. Okay, and lymph nodes serve to trap the microorganisms or the other antigens which happen to get into the lymph or tissue fluid. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, so that filter that all the pathogens. Okay, there is a lymphoid tissue also located within the lining of major tracts. So lymphoid tissue also present which help to which catch the pathogens which enter through our respiratory or digestive or urinogenital tract, that is called as MALT, that is mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. Okay, that is called as MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, that is present in our respiratory, digestive and urinogenital tracts. So it consists of about 50% of the lymphoid tissue in human body. So it prevents the entry of the pathogen to the human body. Okay, so this is about the lymphoid organs or the immune system in our body. So from the next class, I will start the AIDS and the virus that is responsible for the AIDS and the remaining things in the next class. Okay, thank you dear students. I will continue in the next class.